The Word of God has so many what I called one another-ins, that it is so awesome that as you do a study on that and read them, the Word of God will help us to become transformed. And so when we look at this, the transformed church or the transformed individual will learn to love one another. The transformed church will be devoted to one another, will honor one another above yourselves. The transformed church will live in harmony with one another, will build up one another, will be like-minded towards one another. The transformed church will accept one another, admonish one another, and serve one another. The transformed church will bear one another's burdens, forgive one another, be patient with one another, speak the truth in love, will be kind and compassionate to one another, will speak to one another with psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. The transformed church will submit to one another, will consider one another better than yourselves, will look to the interests of one another, will bear with one another, will teach one another, will comfort one another, will encourage one another. The transformed church will exhort one another, will stir up or provoke or stimulate one another to good works. The transformed church will show hospitality to one another, will enjoy the gifts that God has given us for the benefit of others. It will be humble towards one another, will pray for one another, and will confess our faults to one another. When you look at the Word of God and how all these one another work, there is beautiful community that is built there. And we find all of that in the Word of God.